Okay, you guys, I am so excited because this is a return guest for me, and she is such a joy. And you know what? Guess what? Her name is Joy. Joy Womack. Welcome back. How are you?
Thank you so much, Kristyn, for having me. It's always a pleasure. Every time we meet, it's always in these random situations. So it's kind of fitting that we would be meeting in quarantine.
Yeah, over
Apocalypse for
Zoom.
ballet.
It has been the apocalypse. And, first of all, just so everyone knows, the last time I saw you, we were at the Broad Theater. You were here in
Mhm.
town in Los Angeles doing a benefit for West Side Ballet. And then all of a sudden, turned up at Boston Ballet, which that's where I
Yeah.
trained. So I was super excited to see you there.
Oh, that's amazing. It's been an interesting year for sure. Definitely not what I expected, like coming back to the States, but for sure, like I wouldn't take it back for anything. It's been a good time to learn and grow.
Yeah, just quickly tell us what your quarantine's like, because you're in New Mexico. So this is great.
Crazy story. I was in Boston Ballet. We were about to, like, it was opening night of our spring season. We had just done the dress rehearsal the night before, like, this is kind of like my first big performance. Like we had just done like this whole other rep beforehand, and I'm like getting into the group, performing with the company. And I'm super nervous because there's a ballet that I am second cast to, but I've never had a rehearsal for. And all I can think of, like, I can't remember Euro Elmo's choreography, and like, how am I supposed to move this like 2-ton thing around the stage and like never have done it once? Like, that was my biggest stress. And my boyfriend is coming in town, and I'm like, just come to the stage door, it'll be fine. And from the time that we went from the rehearsal, like we had class and rehearsal on stage, and then right after that rehearsal, they came in the theater and they're like, shut it down. Like, we're not performing tonight.
Oh my gosh. I think it's so surreal for all of us. And those first couple weeks in March were so dark, weren't they?
There was, I just didn't even, I couldn't, I was like walking through a dream. I was like, this can't be happening because like nothing, I can't even come, like people have been comparing it to an injury. And I'm like, no, this isn't even like an injury, because with an injury, it's like, oh yeah, I have to, I'll get back. But this is for everybody worldwide. And it's been like hard for me because I love dancing so much and I love working out. So the hardest thing has been like watching myself like get out of shape, because there's like nothing you can really do besides like 3 billion classes at home, which is not the same as
Not the
rehearsing.
same.
So yeah, that's, I guess if we want to go down the dark lane, yeah, that's where I've been.
Yeah. So you're furloughed right now.
Yeah.
No idea yet when and if Boston Ballet is coming back.
No. And that's the problem, is like, I think this crisis, especially for US dance companies, is almost lethal, because a lot of these companies are operating just break even. And so when something like this happens, it is, it's, if they can come back is a big if. And when they come back, they're going to come back at a much lower capacity.
Yeah,
And so
and nutcrackers are, the big bulk of the budget that brings in a lot of money, brings in a lot of revenue, and a lot of them, I know New York City Ballet, Joffrey Ballet, they've canceled nutcracker season.
yeah, yeah. And I haven't heard yet because I missed my company meeting I was teaching this morning, but I'm really super interested because Boston Ballet has one of the longest running runs of nutcracker in the country. It's like a very famous one, and it's normally 6 weeks. And the last I heard, that they were saying like maybe it would be like a 3-week thing, maybe it would be like a one night, like they were playing with all of these different ideas. But they didn't want to like cut that nutcracker because it's like their lifeline. It's where they make all their money. And especially a company like Boston Ballet, where they're so experimental with their rep and their programming, they really do spend a lot of money like making sure that they're at the forefront of the dance world and the conversation. Like they just brought in Bill Forsyth as like the in-house choreographer, so that has been amazing. I got to like be in the corner and like rehearses in the middle, somewhat elevated, and I like geeked out, and it was just so fun. We had one rehearsal where, of course, I'm the new kid and like in the corps de ballet, so I'm kind of the peon or whatever, but it was so fun to like get to work with him and to have him like notice me and just like want to like continue and just like keep working and discovering myself in that work. But I mean, who's to say if they can afford that anymore? We don't know.
I don't know. I mean, we've been lucky to have William Forsythe out here. He's been at USC Kaufman, teaching
Yeah.
the students there. And I mean, he's world class. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a gift to have him at Boston
Yeah.
Ballet and everything. But
Yeah.
this is going to be a big, tough couple years.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, everyone's going to be
Yeah.
in sort of recovery mode. That's the tough part.
And that's for me, like I was having a good talk with one of my good friends that also grew up in LA, and he is like the son of the director of Los Angeles Ballet. And I remember just like calling him and checking him, and then I was like, hey, like Eric, don't you realize like this is happening like right in the middle of like when our careers are supposed to take off? Like we're just at the beginning. And I think that's like really painful, because I think the generation coming up, like it'll be hard for them, but they'll be okay. But for my generation, it's really difficult. And I think it's really hard for all the dancers that this was supposed to be their retirement season and they don't get away to say goodbye to the stage. Like my heart goes out to Stella Bretsky and, you know, other dancers in different companies, especially regional companies around the States, where getting a performance on is a feat in itself to find enough money. And now, you know, I think going to be hard. I think the conversation needs to change the sense of like, in order to prevent something like this happening again, we really do need federal funding for the arts. I'm adamant about it.
I know we don't place enough priority on the arts here in the United States. We
Yeah.
say it over and over again, but I think a pandemic really says a lot about it. And,
Yeah.
you know, I think that's the other issue. There's not enough arts in schools, but it's been proven in studies that kids who participate in the arts are going to get better grades, they're more disciplined, they stay out of trouble. I mean, that's evidence that has been around for decades too.
Yeah. It's a shame. I've been super lucky in my quarantine. I was lucky that I wasn't stuck in I had this like teeny tiny apartment in Boston. Of course, this is like ridiculous to try to rent anything there with like 4 roommates, the whole shebang. And so when my boyfriend like flew in, he was like, no, we're going to be going back to work on Tuesday. This is just something random.
Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah. It's like, no, I don't think so. Like San Francisco just called a shelter in place. And I think us as Americans, we don't even understand that concept of like shelter in place. That was just like, what? Somebody's going to tell me I can't go outside unless I need to get groceries. And Andrew was like, look, if this is going down, we should be in a place where like we're going to be like very limited exposure to different people. Number one, like if you want to go and see your parents or your grandma or something, you should quarantine somewhere for 2 weeks to make sure that, you know, you haven't been exposed. Because of course we were really nervous being in Boston, having it be like a hot spot kind of a thing. But long story short, we came out to his ranch in New Mexico, and it is literally in the middle of nowhere. Like I have to run 6 miles in order to meet like another soul, living human being. So that's been incredible. And it's been so wonderful to kind of have like a different pace of life. And I put out a cookbook, and I've been like eating healthy and just kind of like nurturing and like kind of putting my soul back together, and just like enjoying time with horses and enjoying time with dogs and family. And just like it really forced me to kind of like take a look at my career and dancing and understand that like there has to be more than just that, which it's really hard because I love giving my all to it. And there's nothing better than that feeling of like rehearsing and feeling so dead and being on stage. But it's been a really magical time.
Well, your cookbook, because I got a sneak peek at it. This is it's called Vegan Mood, correct?
Yeah.
It is amazing. The photographs look delicious. And it's been interesting too, because quarantine has brought up a lot of issues with meat and some of the factories that they're coming out of, and COVID outbreaks there. So a lot of people are turning to vegan diets if they haven't already tried it. But I was like, that red curry soup, I was like, oh, that's totally my jam. Like that, I love soup and anything with curry. And I was like, I have to make that. So how did you come up with the recipes? Are they all sort of inspired? Do you just start like mixing things up and see what works?
Well, first of all, like as I say in like the first page of the book, also this is like me trying to self-publish. Like this is my first attempt at InDesign, so I know it's like so rowdy. I want to get better at it, but it was just
it looks good. The photos are beautiful.
I took those, like most of them come from my iPhone, which is so bad. But it's important to have certain staples in your pantry, and like with those certain staples, you can make anything taste tasty. But I have to say that my flavor and my recipes are very influenced by the places that I've been around the world. and the dishes that I've fallen in love with, and like kind of the nostalgia. Like the red curry soup is inspired by my time in Thailand, and a lot of the vegetable side dishes are inspired by my time in Italy and just watching this like old grandma teach me how to cook vegetables. And then in Korea, I love to make smoothies. It was like a really great way to like get nutrition in time for rehearsal. So, and then there's like the sweet stuff, but it's like guilt-free sweet stuff. So it's like, and I use a lot of chia in my baking so that it's really good for your gut. And those recipes kind of like came about because I had so many like issues with food and just like issues with my digestion. So these are some of the recipes that for me, I know make my gut feel good, make me feel good, make me feel light. And I think that this is like part one of more, but it was just like kind of like fun way to maybe help other people and be inspired to stay healthy.
Yeah, I want a banana chia oat muffin. I love banana
Oh.
muffins. I'm obsessed. So
Bananas are amazing. They literally can like take the place of an egg. Like they're crazy. They are so versatile. And you can kind of use that recipe if you don't put a few things in it to make pancakes. And like, oh my God, they're amazing.
I'm glad to hear that. Can you tell me where people can go and buy
There's,
your
ooh,
cookbook?
I think we had a,
Yeah, I think you're back.
yes. Yeah, there
Okay,
was
there
a
you are.
little freezy.
Yeah.
If you would like to buy my cookbook, I have a website, which is womack.com, and the book, and it's a Shopify store. So the cookbook is available on that store. It's super easy, and you can pay by PayPal. And then once you buy the book, I just send you an email with the link, and you can download it. And there will definitely be more little ebooks coming out. I made this apple popover um, apple popover pancake recipe
I'm in.
that tastes like, I don't know, it tastes like funnel cake, but it's vegan and gluten free and sugar free.
It's so
So
good. Yeah,
yeah,
sugar's not good for us. So, and it's in everything. So
yeah,
anything that eliminates any sugar is good for us.
yeah.
I was super excited to see the big news in all the trade papers recently. Yeah, you know where I'm going. um, and you have two movies. I think that's what people don't realize. You have a
Yeah,
documentary and you have this
yeah.
scripted film about your life. But let's talk about Joika first, because this was the big news over the last couple of weeks. And I got super excited because your story it's bananas. It's like you can't make it up. And I'm really excited to see it on the big screen. So talk about how this came to fruition.
Um, well, it's really interesting because this is something I've been quiet about for a really long time. I think like the first time I noticed that people had interest is when I graduated from the school and joined the Bolshoi company. And there already was somebody trying to like buy my life rights and wanting, to do something with it. And so that was actually when I met Jerry, because I
Jerry's
had
your
no
manager.
idea.
We know
Yeah,
Jerry.
Jerry.
They don't.
Yeah. Jerry's my manager. He's the sweetest and so funny. I had never, like, I was not involved in Hollywood. I was not trying to be involved in Hollywood. I had left LA. That was not going to be my path. And I needed somebody to like look over contracts and tell me if something was legit or wasn't. And, I've always had this attitude of like, I'll believe it. And I tell the writer and director of this movie every time he talks to me, I'm like, I will believe it when I'm sitting in the seat with you at the premiere, because I think in the dance world, so often you get your hopes up about something and then you have to watch like a dream die. So I'm like very hesitant to talk, and like I really kept it under the radar because I didn't think it would actually happen.
And it did.
um, and it did.
And it did.
And I'm really excited about it because I hope that, I know that Hollywood takes a lot of artistic license and how they'll tell the story. But if people get anything from watching the story, I really do believe that if you work hard and you are motivated, there's a way to follow your path. And there's a way to follow your path without compromising morally. And I think maybe that's the reason why I went to Russia, is to be able to tell that story and inspire people to not compromise and to not feel like they have to compromise for what they want and what they dream for.
And besides it being based off of your life, you're going to be working on the film, correct?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I've been talking with Thomason, and it's been really fun to help the team like try to figure out a way to help her like learn more about ballet and get training. And she's just like the sweetest, girl. And when I watched the movie Jojo Rabbit, mind you, I had met her multiple times before watching this movie. My jaw dropped to the floor. My heart like ripped out of my soul. This girl is so fantastic and so talented, and just really has a special light to her. And even if, you know, ballet is a hard thing to learn, um, but it's really cool to see her so inspired and interested in studying and like putting in the work. And I think that this dance training for her is only going to help her be a better actress. And you know, it'd be really cool to maybe like potentially do some of the doubling and things like that. So that'll be like a really interesting experience for me. I'm definitely not 15 anymore, so I don't know if I will fit the bill, but
You know, I mean, but with camera angles and things like that, and they can
yeah.
superimpose her head in CGI onto your body,
Yeah.
it might work. It might work. We know they did it in Black Swan. So,
Yeah.
do you
Yeah.
know when they're going to begin filming? Obviously, COVID changes filming
Everything.
situations. Yeah.
Well, I know like the last time I talked with the director, and he's so, so amazing. You know, I honestly thought because of this like pushed aside yet again. But I think the unique thing is that most of the people who are part of the film live in New Zealand, and New Zealand's had zero infections. And so I think that they're really planning to start next year and start working on the film there in New Zealand, which would be so
Fantastic.
cool. Yeah, really
Yeah.
amazing.
New Zealand's
Um,
done a good job of eradicating COVID. I know that. So,
yeah. Yeah. So that'll be really cool. And it was kind of fun to, I, through Asian Grand Prix, which is a competition I won, there is an amazing head of the jury who is actually the head of the New Zealand School of Ballet. And I was able to like connect the director and see if they could find a teacher, etc. Gary is the name of the director, and you could not find like a sweeter man who's more in love with ballet. And just I told the director James that when he wanted to start to like write this movie, I was like, I don't want this movie to be made if it's going to be a crappy dance movie. Like nobody wants a repeat of some of the other things that I won't name names, but are like.
I can think of one right off the top of my head. I won't name it either. But yeah, you watch the dance scenes and you're like, that's not the actress. And then you see when it is the actress and you're like, the two don't go together. So yeah.
So that's like what I'm really excited for. And I do trust the director because he's assured me along the way, and he wants to do things the right way. So I think COVID changes a lot of things, but it's really amazing to see someone like completely discover a world that he had no idea about. And he followed me around in Australia. Like it was really cool, kind of like how it all came about, and just he got to see like a glimpse, like a backstage glimpse into my life. And that was really amazing and special to have him there and see that, and from my perspective.
Any word on your documentary? Because I know that's been in the
Uh,
works a long time too.
I have I know that they're shopping it around the Cannes Festival,
Oh
and I
yeah, the
actually have
virtual
an
market.
interview, with you. With another person, like right after you today to talk about it. So it'd be cool. And like, guess what? Like, I will continue to say this. I will believe it when I'm sitting with my butt in a seat at the premiere. I'm really proud of the work that Sergey and Dina, the producer of the film, have done. They followed me from my GOS exams, my state exams at the end of Bolshoi to almost now. So
Oh.
that's a ton of footage that they have at really, really difficult parts in my life. And I mean, they were there at my debut of Swan Lake. Like I can't, like I've danced like 100 Swan Lakes since then. So it's just, for me, when I saw like a rough cut of the documentary, I couldn't watch half of it. It was really painful. It was really like kind of weird to like see.
It's hard to relive parts of your life when you're going through a tough moment too. I mean, I
Yeah.
can think of like, I had a bad year one year and I'm like, I would not want to relive or watch myself relive that again. That's
Yeah.
hard.
So I think like, yes, number one, I'm excited about my story getting out there, but on the other hand, I'm really scared because people will take it a different way. You know, like there's a lot of things that I haven't shared about myself on social media and my path and my story. But I know that some of those things do need to come out and be said and be seen. But that's hard to like be that vulnerable on a big scale. But if anything, I would hope my story could help change a couple of things in the dance world that have no place being there.
And I love a good dance documentary, so I'm rooting for it to to get sold at the virtual market. I know you've been teaching quite a bit. How is that going? Are the students engaged? Or they having it? I know some of the younger kids they're losing focus. It's been hard.
Yeah.
But the older kids, I
Yeah.
think, are doing okay.
Yeah. Well, I am super, super blessed to my boyfriend was like, hey, like when all of this started, he's like, you should just teach on Zoom. And I was like, no, everybody's teaching on Instagram. Like it's such a fad, like I don't want to be like another teacher on Instagram kind of a thing. And I started teaching an Insta live class for Gaynor Minden, which is the shoe company that sponsors me. And I love them. I will literally give them my lifelong if need be, because they have come through for me at every step of the way. And they're just so inclusive, and they've always been inclusive. And the woman who's the head of this company is like so right on.
They were the first company to come out with brown and black point shoes, and it's been a big talk lately with Black Lives Matter. And so many other companies are way behind the 8 ball on that.
Way behind the 8 ball, and Eliza is just so with it. Anyway, that's another story. I could get into a big rant on how when I came to the States, the company changed shoes, and that I felt that was a really big insult, because number one, I am an adult woman. Number two, how dare a male person tell me what shoes I can wear? Number three, like, just because you have a preconceived notion doesn't mean that that's correct and for all people. And so that was really a really hard adjustment. And I ended up having to they ended up making me sign a piece of paper saying that I would provide my own shoes. And Gaynor Minden stepped in the biggest way and paid for my shoes. And the reason why I'm not quiet about it is because I'm like, this needs to be known about. That Gaynor Minden is behind their artists all the way and really supportive and doesn't want dancers to get injured. But anyway, long story long, girls contacted me after taking the Instagram live class, like really wanting to take some of my classes. And so I've started a group, and I teach a class Monday through Friday. Mondays and Thursdays are conditioning and strengthening. So you don't necessarily have to be a ballet dancer to take that. It's like a HIIT workout and stretching. And then Tuesday is like intermediate. Wednesday is a 90-minute class. And then Friday is like beginner basics. So you can come in not knowing anything, or you could come in being a YGP winner, but I'm going to work on your placement of your ankle bone. And it's been so amazing to see girls who come every single day to see their progress, where they were 3 months ago and where they are now. I actually had a girl I'm teaching for this summer intensive that's virtual, and she dropped in, and I was like, I was so proud of her because she looked so polished. And anyway, they're like my little babies. I love them. It's not a big group, but they're loyal and they're making improvements, and it's so fun.
Makes you a proud ballet mom.
Yeah. And I keep telling my boyfriend, like, maybe this is time for me to retire, which is really sad because I don't want to retire yet, but who knows with COVID. But my heart has been so full, like getting to teach and help other people and work with even adult dancers. It's been incredible.
You're a great dance educator. It's a good
thing. I'm lucky to have studied a lot and gotten to have a lot of great teachers give me a lot to give to others. So I hope I can continue to do that.
Pass that along. Well, Joy, I have to say it was such a delight catching up with you. I miss you very much. And I know it's going to be a little bit before I see you back here in LA, but I hope it's sooner versus later.
Oh, thank you so much. I think I want to hide underneath a burqa until I'm back into shape, but maybe we'll get there in 2 years.
No, you look great. You look great. Don't even tell yourself that. And, but yeah, hopefully we see you in California at some point. We can go and have a vegan lunch.
Yay. All right. Well, enjoy the cookbook and stay safe, stay healthy. And I hope we can catch up another day.
I appreciate it. Take care.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.